American homesteaders in their 50s and 60s are still hauling feed bags home every growing season, without knowing their own backyard could be growing it instead. Not because you did anything wrong, because nobody ever showed you these 12 perennials replace purchased feed permanently, season after season. Before plant one, drop your state right now, because your USDA zone completely changes which of these performs best for you. Find yours and pay attention. And the one at number 9, homesteaders have kept it quietly off every mainstream shelf since your great-grandmother's time. Plant number 1, alfalfa. One packet costs $8 and replaces a feed bag that costs $45 every single month once established. Picture dense purple blooms swaying over a paddock where goats graze freely instead of you hauling bags from the truck. Zones 3 through 9. Full sun, well-drained soil. University Extension forage research confirms alfalfa's taproot reaches 6 feet down, pulling minerals shallow grasses never touch. That depth is why one established stand keeps producing high-protein cuttings for 4 to 5 years straight. A single planting replaces roughly $200 of purchased hay across one full grazing season. Most American growers overgraze it too early, cutting before root reserves rebuild for winter. That single mistake can cost the entire stand, forcing a full $70 replanting the following spring. Managed correctly, alfalfa becomes the backbone of your entire feed system for half a decade. But protein density alone is not the full story here. The next plant on this list adds something alfalfa cannot: a nitrogen bonus that feeds the soil while it feeds your animals. And somewhere in this video is the story of a retired homesteader in Wisconsin who converted a back paddock to mixed forage. That story is coming. Keep watching. Plant number 2, red clover. $6 in seed builds a stand that feeds soil and livestock at the same time, something alfalfa alone never does. Picture reddish-pink blooms thick enough that sheep push through them shoulder-deep at feeding time. Zones 4 through 8. Full sun, moist soil. University Extension pasture research confirms red clover's root nodules fix nitrogen directly into depleted soil, feeding future forage stands for free. That single trait is why serious homesteaders rotate clover ahead of grasses instead of buying fertilizer. One stand replaces roughly $150 in purchased nitrogen fertilizer per acre annually. Most American growers feed it fresh, cut without wilting first, risking bloat in sheep and goats. That single mistake can trigger an emergency vet visit costing well over $200. Wilted properly, red clover becomes a soil-building, feed-saving asset with almost no downside. But this one spreads on its own across the whole paddock, without you planting a single extra seed. Drop your state below. Your USDA zone determines exactly how fast that spread happens for you. Plant number 3, white clover. $5 in seed, spreads on its own until it covers ground you never planted. Unlike red clover's row-bound habit, picture chickens foraging through a thick white mat, pecking protein-rich clover heads all afternoon long. Zones 4 through 9. Full sun to part shade, any soil. University Extension research confirms white clover's low-growth habit makes it the single best forage for chickens and small poultry flocks. That trait alone is why homesteaders let it spread freely instead of mowing it down like a weed. One patch replaces roughly $100 of purchased poultry feed supplement across a full season. Most American growers let it creep unchecked into vegetable beds without a border. That single mistake means replanting crowded out crops, an easy $60 loss every spring. Bordered properly, white clover becomes a self-spreading feed source that costs almost nothing to maintain year after year. But every clover on this list carries one shared bloat risk that the next plant completely removes. That single difference might change which forage you plant first this season. Plant number 4, Sainfoin. $7 in seed grows the one legume on this list goats can graze freely without any bloat risk at all. Picture tall pink bloom spikes swaying while goats eat their fill with zero supervision needed. Zones 3 through 8, full sun, well-drained alkaline soil. University Extension forage research confirms Sainfoin's natural tannins prevent the bloating that alfalfa and clover can cause in goats and sheep. That single trait makes it the safest legume for unsupervised backyard grazing anywhere. One stand replaces roughly $180 in purchased bloat, safe pellet feed per season. Most American growers plant it in heavy, poorly drained soil, where it struggles within a year. That single mistake means a full replanting cost of $50 wasted on the wrong site. Grazed at the right stage, chicory keeps feeding your animals when everything else around it turns brown and dry all summer. 6 plants down, and we have not even reached number 9 yet. And earlier, at the start of this video, I mentioned someone whose story fits exactly where we are. Plant number 5, Comfrey. $12 in rootstock, grows leaves so mineral dense, they replace supplement blocks most homesteaders still buy. Picture broad, dark leaves cut fresh and drop straight into the trough for goats to devour immediately. Zones 3 through 9, part shade to full sun, rich moist soil. University Extension research confirms Comfrey's deep taproot mines minerals from subsoil that most forage plants never reach at all. That mineral density is why homesteaders cut it fresh 3 to 4 times every single growing season. One established patch replaces roughly $90 in purchased mineral supplement blocks per year. Most American growers till the roots when moving it, not realizing every fragment regrows into a new plant. That single mistake spreads Comfrey uncontrolled, often costing hours of removal labor later. Cut correctly, Comfrey becomes a repeat harvest mineral source that never needs replanting year after year. But mineral density alone still leaves a gap most backyard pastures never fill without help. The deep-rooted plant most pastures are missing is coming up next. Plant number 6, chicory. $6 in seed, grows roots deep enough to stay green through dry spells that brown out shallow-rooted grasses. Picture goats grazing chicory's leafy rosette, while the surrounding pasture turns pale and dry around it. Zones 3 through 10, full sun, tolerates poor soil. University Extension research confirms chicory's taproot pulls moisture from subsoil layers that keep it grazable through droughts that stall other forages completely. That resilience is why serious homesteaders count on it during the driest weeks of summer. One established patch replaces roughly $120 in emergency drought season feed purchases annually. Most American growers let it bolt fully before cutting, missing the tender leaf grazing window entirely. That single mistake wastes an entire cutting cycle, costing weeks of usable forage. Planted on the right ground, trefoil claims marginal corners of your property that would otherwise sit completely wasted and unused. But legumes alone cannot carry a full grazing rotation without a sturdy grass backbone supporting them. That backbone is exactly what the next plant on this list provides. Earlier at the start of this video, I mentioned someone in Wisconsin. This is that story. He was a retired homesteader in Zone 4, spending close to $400 a month hauling feed for his goats, until University Extension pasture guides helped him convert his back paddock to mixed forage instead. Within one growing season, his feed bill dropped noticeably, and by the second season, he was barely buying feed at all. If you are still watching, this next plant is why I made this video, not for the algorithm, for the homesteader who stayed. Plant number 7, bird's foot trefoil. $6 in seed, grows another bloat-free legume, this one thriving on ground too poor for alfalfa. Picture sheep grazing yellow blooms on rocky marginal soil, where nothing else in this list would even establish. Zones 3 through 8, full sun, tolerates poor soil. University Extension research confirms bird's foot trefoil establishes on acidic, rocky ground where alfalfa and clover fail completely within a season. That single trait makes it the backup legume every marginal land homesteader eventually needs. One patch on poor ground replaces roughly $100 in feed you would otherwise haul to unusable corners. Most American growers plant it in rich, fertile soil, where aggressive grasses quickly crowd it out. That single mistake wastes seed money, often $40 lost to a stand that never establishes. Planted on the right ground, trefoil claims marginal corners of your property that would otherwise sit completely wasted and unused. But legumes alone cannot carry a full grazing rotation without a sturdy grass backbone supporting them. That backbone is exactly what the next plant on this list provides. Plant number 8, orchard grass. $5 in seed grows the sturdy grass backbone every legume rotation on this list actually needs. Picture it thriving in dappled shade under fruit trees, where other grasses thin out and struggle. Zones 3 through 9, part shade to full sun, well-drained soil. University extension research confirms orchard grass tolerates more shade than nearly any other pasture grass, thriving where fruit trees block direct sun. That shade tolerance is why serious homesteaders pair it directly beneath young orchard plantings. One seeded acre replaces roughly $160 in purchased hay across a full grazing season. Most American growers overseed it far too thick, causing weak competition between crowded seedlings. That single mistake produces a thin, spindly stand instead of the sturdy backbone this grass should provide. Seeded correctly, orchard grass becomes the sturdy backbone, holding your entire rotation together, season after season, without fail. But one grass alone cannot cover every climate and cutting schedule your property might demand. The next plant on this list handles the cold winters this one sometimes struggles against. Plant number 9, Timothy grass. $5 in seed grows the cold hardy grass Northern homesteaders have relied on since your great-grandmother's time. Picture its tall seed heads swaying through winters that would kill warmer climate forage without a second thought. Zones 3 through 8, full sun, cool, moist climate. University extension research confirms Timothy grass survives harsher winters than nearly every other forage grass on this list, regrowing reliably each spring. That hardiness is why northern homesteaders have depended on it for feed security through brutal cold seasons. One established stand replaces roughly $140 in purchased winter hay across a full season. Most American growers cut it too early, before the seed heads mature and protein content peaks fully. That single mistake cuts protein value nearly in half, wasting the season's best nutrition window. Cut at the right stage, Timothy grass delivers peak protein through the harshest winters your zone can throw at it. We are saving the most overlooked wintergreen forage on this entire list for last. That plant stays green through frost when almost everything else in your paddock goes dormant. Plant number 10, salad burnet. $6 in seed grows a forage that stays green through frost when everything else around it goes dormant. Picture feathery leaves still feeding your goats in late November, while the rest of the paddock sits brown and bare. Zones 4 through 8, full sun to part shade well-drained soil. University extension research confirms salad burnet stays evergreen through frost that browns nearly every other forage on this entire list. That single trait extends your grazing season by several extra weeks most homesteaders never plan for. One established patch replaces roughly $70 in emergency late season feed most people scramble to buy. Most American growers plant it under dense shade where weak light produces thin, leggy, low-yield growth. That single mistake cuts usable forage yield nearly in half compared to full sun. Planted in full sun, salad burnet stretches your grazing season weeks past when every other forage quits for winter. 10 plants down, and the next one brings a nutrition density most homesteaders reserve for their own dinner table. That plant belongs on this list for reasons most people never expect. Plant number 11, forage kale. $10 in seed grows leaves so nutrient-dense, they rival what most people grow in their own vegetable garden. Picture goats grazing broad blue-green leaves that pack more protein than an entire row of standard pasture grass. Zones 6 through 9. Full sun, fertile, well-drained soil. University extension research confirms forage kale carries protein levels, rivaling alfalfa while doubling as a genuine food garden crop for your own kitchen. That dual purpose is why serious homesteaders plant it along both the pasture edge and the vegetable row. One patch replaces roughly $130 in purchased protein supplement across a full, cool season. Most American growers let livestock strip young plants before roots establish fully. That single mistake stunts the entire stand, often costing a full $30 reseeding the following month. Established correctly, forage kale feeds your livestock and your own table from the exact same planting, no separate garden needed. This brings us to the plant, teased all the way back in the opening minute of this video. That one has been hiding off every mainstream shelf since your great-grandmother's time. Plant number 12. Plantain. This is the one homesteaders have kept quietly off every mainstream shelf, and it cost almost nothing to establish. Picture ribbed leaves spreading naturally at pasture edges. Most people mow down without ever knowing what they removed. Zones 3 through 9. Full sun to part shade. Any soil. University extension research confirms plantain carries mineral levels most homesteaders never realize sit growing wild along their own fence lines. That overlooked density is exactly why it stayed off nursery shelves, while grasses got all the marketing. One naturalized patch replaces roughly $80 in purchased mineral supplement per grazing season. Most American growers mow it down at pasture edges before it ever gets the chance to self-seed. That single mistake removes a permanent forage source that expands on its own every year. Left unmowed at the edges, plantain becomes the quiet 12th plant, doing more work than anyone ever gives it credit for. That completes all 12. But 3 things about this list almost no source puts in one place are still coming. What you hear next could change which corner of your property you plant first. 3 things about this entire fodder list that almost no other source ever puts together in one place. Alfalfa, red clover, and white clover all carry genuine bloat risk when fed fresh cut, so rotate Sainfoin or bird's foot trefoil in between them to keep grazing genuinely safe. Forage kale and alfalfa top the protein content ranking on this list, each one replacing well over $100 in purchased supplement per season. Rotate livestock through paddock sections every 1 to 2 weeks, resting each patch long enough for roots to fully rebuild before the very next grazing pass begins. Done together, these 12 plants form a self-sustaining feed system that compounds in value every single season, replacing hundreds of dollars in purchased feed permanently. That is not gardening. That is investing directly in your own land. Here is exactly where to begin based on your zone. Right now, here is exactly where to begin. Zone to plants to dollar. For zones 3 through 6, combine alfalfa, red and white clover, Sainfoin, bird's foot trefoil, orchard grass, and cold hardy Timothy grass into one full rotation. And that combination alone replaces well over $400 in purchased feed. For zones 7 through 10, combine chicory, forage kale, plantain, and white clover into one warm zone, stand-built around drought, resilience, self-spreading coverage, and genuine nutrition density most pastures in these zones never achieve. Miss the fall planting window, and your first real result waits a full year. So establish this combination now, while soil temperatures still favor fast, reliable germination. You just received zone-accurate, dollar-grounded forage knowledge that most American homesteading channels never managed to put together in one place. If this video gave you even one single plant you had never considered feeding your own animals, go ahead and hit like right now. Drop your state and USDA zone below and tell us exactly which animals you are feeding and which plant on this list you are planting first this coming season. Subscribe to Natural Verge, 50 years of plant knowledge delivered every single week. for the homesteader who actually wants to know.